Welcome to the monthly movie marathon on this episode.
Where we marathon movies monthly.
Because monthly we watch movies in a marathon format. Because we marathon movies monthly.
For the monthly movie
For the monthly movie marathon.
And this month.
This month indeed, yes.
We're doing things a little bit different.
We are, shaking the pot, so to say.
Because
is that the phrase?
I don't think
no,
so, but
we're stirring the pot.
Stirring the pot.
We're shaking the...
It's like my first instinct is horrible.
Yeah, so was mine. So I think, yeah, that was mine as well. Whoops.
We are stirring the pot. We're
shaking things up a little bit.
In general, we're shaking things up.
What does that say about us? Oh my God, our first thought went to exactly what everyone's thinking we were going to say.
But that's one thing that we won't say.
No, also... If you're a Disney fan, welcome, and listening for the first time, welcome.
Welcome. Sorry,
but this is very much the tone of the show.
Yeah. But we're doing Disney because on the 25th of this month in Australia, 26th. Is it 26th or is it the week before?
No, I think it's I think it's a worldwide thing.
All right. Either way,
while you're talking, I'll have a look.
Either way, there is a little movie coming out called The Little Mermaid.
Yes, indeed.
And it is the adaptation of Disney's, obviously...
live-action adaptation of
the classic Disney animated musical film that, look...
From 1989.
Yeah. So, fun fact about the 1989 version.
Yes.
Did you know that Alyssa Milano was used as the facial inspiration for Ariel?
This is great. Actually, you know what? There could be a way to put this in for the YouTube watchers, which, of course, if you're watching on YouTube, hello. Lovely to see you.
I think if you typed in little Ariel, I think if you type Ariel Alyssa Milano, I reckon you'll probably get something better than that.
No, that's fair enough. Like a young Alyssa. Oh, yeah. You know what?
Yep.
This one here.
Yep.
That one there. If you're watching on the YouTube and this pops up, then you're welcome. No, I get it.
Yeah.
It's like the way the cheeks come down into the chin.
Yeah. So she was used as that.
What a photo of Ariel they used there.
And you know what? This was one of my favorite animated Disney movies growing up.
I get that. I didn't watch as many animated Disney movies growing up. Like I watched The Lion King. I watched Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
Like the big ones, Aladdin. But, I know The Little Mermaid is probably a big one as well, but obviously being like a 10-year-old boy, well, no, how old I would have been when I was watching those, like maybe like 5 or 6, who was like, when I'm not watching footy, I was like watching manly Disney films. So, I didn't watch this one as much growing up, but I have seen it since.
Yes. So going completely offsetting that because I was a little fairy as a kid. I watched The Little Mermaid. And you know what? I'm going to briefly... I'm not going to shout this person out, but there is someone that I went to school with.
Okay.
Who was basically my bully.
Oh, fuck them.
Called me the F word.
Right. Derogatory F word.
And meant it.
Fuck that guy.
And he was like 8 years old when he said it. So I was like, that's just bad.
That's just bad
upbringing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But because I liked Little Mermaid, that seemed to give him reason
ammunition
to be
right,
like, hey,
be a douchebag.
Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
But also, you know what? If you have kids now, which you probably do,
okay,
because he'd be like 30, 38, 39.
Righto. Yeah.
If you have kids, I hope that
you're
a better father.
Yeah.
And also, haha, you have to pay to see this movie. so I win in that regard.
Yeah, well, I mean, if he's going to take his
if you're going to take the
Mermaid, like, I've got it. And also, just fuck that guy. Like, don't bully people.
Yeah, it's
not fun.
Yeah. But it was one of my favorite films, and I'm actually like,
yes,
I'm relatively excited for this film.
We've spoken about this because I I have minimal to zero interest.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm going to go in and like, I have to sit through Little Mermaid.
because I'm a manly man. I want to watch footy.
So he's not doing that. I was like, no, I can do both.
Yeah.
But also, as of like from a critical point of view, right?
Yes.
I never understand critics or reviewers or social media influencers who go in to watch movies with the idea that they're already going to hate it going in.
Yeah.
Just don't go fucking see it.
Right.
And don't waste your time and don't waste your breath being so abhorrently negative about something.
Yeah.
So I'm not like, oh, I can't.
No, see, the
I'm
thing
just
is,
not, I have no anticipation.
And the thing is, though, I know you well enough to know that if you go into it and you end up liking it,
I'll sing its
and if
praises.
you end up, but if you end up not liking it, it's not because you've gone in with that mind frame.
One of the movies on our little list today that we're talking about are one of those things. Now, I didn't walk away from it being like, it's the best movie ever, but when I wasn't excited to watch it, saw it, and I was like, you know what, I had a good time with that.
Cool.
So
I'm very interested to see which
we'll find out what
is.
that one is.
But yes, I like.
We've had a very passionate start to this episode. I like this. This is good. We're shaking things up.
I'm very happy that Halle Bailey is Ariel.
Okay, so I don't know much about Halle Bailey. So
I think that's incredibly, awesomely progressive of Disney to cast a
obviously huge,
African American woman.
Do you know what was
Ariel?
also great is when they debuted the trailer. I believe they debuted the first trailer during the Super Bowl, if I'm not mistaken.
I know that there was at least. Yeah, maybe it was during that.
I think it might have been the trailer.
It was at least like a good little TV teaser for it.
And the clips that popped up on social media of young black girls watching it, seeing her sing and being excited for the fact that they are seeing someone who looks like them or representation of them. That's exactly it. That's like, and if you have an issue with that, then like, firstly,
don't go see this movie.
Don't go see the fucking movie. But also, I think you should see it just to support it. But also, it's like, you have your stories out there. We especially us white people, we've got our stories out there. It's totally okay.
If there's 10 stories, 9 of those are about white people.
And we've got our representation out there. And you know what? It never hurts to see something from someone else's perspective.
Exactly. So I'm excited for that. I think Javier Bardem is cool casting as the
I forgot he was in it, so I saw the character posters come out. Obviously, Melissa McCarthy as Ursula.
So a lot of people have taken issue with that.
Okay.
I personally think it's great casting because
I like Melissa McCarthy most of the time.
Melissa McCarthy hasn't had the greatest run as of late.
No. Well, when she's making movies with her husband, they usually don't turn out too well.
But I think Melissa McCarthy is an incredibly gifted actress, comedian. I'm excited to see her really tap into just sort of camp villainy.
Yeah, totally.
Which is one of the great things about the character of Ursula.
It's super camp. Yeah.
A lot of people wanted Disney to sort of go with the drag queen route because the character of Ursula is actually based off of the drag queen Divine.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that makes an incredible amount of sense. Yeah, totally.
If you don't know who Divine is...
Like that scene in The Little Mermaid where she eats shit off the ground. Totally.
If you don't know who Divine is, just Google it, John Waters, you'll understand.
Yeah, totally.
So people were like, well, why didn't they
on a visual basis, that makes complete sense,
and I'm like, as great as that would have been, I don't think Disney are ready to have a black lead and a drag queen performer.
They still, unfortunately, Disney still love lots of money.
Yeah,
not taking risks.
I think Melissa McCarthy is going to be really great for it, and all the things that are coming out of CinemaCon were that Halle Bailey is incredible, and Melissa McCarthy steals the show.
There we go.
So you know what, and obviously. A lot of these early words, we've heard it before with films where it's like, this is the greatest film that's ever come out. Oh, DC, oh, Marvel. Well, we've all heard it. It could be completely false. It could just be people hyping it up. We don't know.
We don't know yet.
But I am personally, yes, we will know very, very soon.
May 25th.
But I am personally, I have excitement in this film.
Yep.
I think Halle Bailey's voice is insane. She is, it is incredible. So on that regard, I think visually it'll actually be really pretty. I know people are saying that it looks too dark, but anyway.
That's from the 2 minutes of footage you've seen from a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
So
You
don't know till you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I'm obviously very happy that you're excited for it. Like I said, I'm going to see it and I hope it's good. I really hope it's good, like I do for every movie I go see. So, but
the reason why we're shaking things up for this episode is because
stirring things up.
We didn't necessarily...
We've kind of called an audible on you guys, I guess you could say.
So we haven't marathoned a couple of films.
Holy fucking shit. they're liars. That's what they're thinking right now.
Sorry,
these fucking
this
pieces
can be
of
the
shit.
monthly movie discussion
ranking, I guess you could say.
So because we thought, look, there's so many of these live action adaptations.
Oh yes,
and obviously we initially had, if you followed us on socials, we initially had Pete's Dragon.
Yes,
and then some people were
we
like,
we had some reactions.
Who were like,
to that.
Pete's Dragon shouldn't be included, and
And
because of the list we have, we decided, all right, we'll break it down to like the 10 actual
adaptation and
of-
kind of like
more, I guess.
Well, I guess because the one that we did consider throwing on there as well was 101 Dalmatians.
Yes.
Which, live action adaptation of an anime.
Which we've had a live action adaptation back in the 90s with Glenn Close.
Glenn Close
also
as Cruella de Vil.
fucking
Yeah.
incredible performance.
Such a fun movie.
And then because of that, we were like, could we include Cruella?
Yes.
Also, another awesome movie with Emma Stone.
I did really like Cruella a lot. Yes.
And then you think, all right, if we have Cruella, do we do Maleficent?
Yeah,
And then if
and
we do
then-
Maleficent, do we do the sequel?
and it just
sort of
opened up a can of worms. So we were like, look, there was one movie that kind of really kicked this stuff off.
Yeah.
And that was Alice in Wonderland
Yes.
in 2010.
Yeah.
Some would also argue that maybe it was more so Cinderella when Disney really went balls to the wall with it. But Alice in Wonderland made $1 billion at the box office.
But I understand that Alice in Wonderland kind of felt like this singular thing.
It totally did,
and
yeah.
Cinderella did feel like this is the start of
yeah.
So I get
also,
it.
Alice in Wonderland got our list of 10. So,
Alice in Wonderland made the list of 10.
So kind of we looked at what was an actual live action adaptation of an animated film that has come out in this sort of Disney renaissance of animated films, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then obviously starting the list with Alice in Wonderland 2010.
Yeah.
We included Disney Plus releases. So on that list will be we'll read out lists in a second, but obviously 2 movies that came out on Disney Plus. But what we're doing rather than marathoning the films, because there were some we just did not want to watch again.
Well, yeah. So we have seen all of these films.
I will, my caveats, I haven't seen one of them.
Okay.
And we'll get to that. But
All right.
Pete has seen all of these films, and I've seen 9 of them.
And some of them are like ones that we'll happily revisit again.
Totally.
Some
and I
of them
want to watch them again,
And
actually,
some
to
of
be
them
honest.
are like, I've seen it once and that's enough.
That's enough. So, yes. We'll list the movies. Oh, and before we do that, obviously, because when we asked about on our social medias is because we asked you guys to also rank what your top three
films were.
Disney films were.
Yeah.
And so what we have done is we've created the people's list, the people's ranking,
For the people, by the people, for the people.
the ultimate Disney live action adaptation ranking. So what we've done is we had almost 40 people reply. So obviously, thank you very much for taking part. But we had about 40 people respond, and I have taken those lists, and we've got a top 3. So we've got the people's top 3 Disney live action adaptations.
Collated all of the responses.
There's a point system that I came up. It was very Excel spreadsheety, but we will reveal that at the end of the show. So stay listening to hear if your movie, your pick, made the top 3.
Yeah.
But let's crack into this, shall we?
Shall we?
Shall we, young
Love
Peter?
a good crack.
Well, that's a different monthly movie marathon. What would a good crack movie? Like, what's a movie coming out? Disregard.
It's like Blow.
Oh, that would, good point. Yeah.
Although that's not really crack.
No, that's Coke.
Crack.
No, it's a Coke movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. Mean Girls, say crack again. Crack. She sells cracks to kids.
Again, if you're joining us from the Disney fandom, welcome.
Yeah. But hey.
But this is us.
But then little segue, Lindsay Lohan, Disney kid. So
True. Very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point. And this is just unapologetically us.
Yeah.
So here's the list of Disney live action adaptations that we're covering on the show. So we have Alice in Wonderland from 2010, Cinderella from 2015, The Jungle Book from 2016, Beauty and the Beast from 2017. All 4 of these were 2019. We have Dumbo, Aladdin, The Lion King. Now, the caveat is, the Lion King's actually all animation. Yes, but the intention was to make it look as real as possible.
Yeah.
Also, it made the list of 10.
Yeah.
Lady and the Tramp. In 2020, we had Mulan. And in 2022, last year, we had Robert Zemeckis' Pinocchio with Tom Hanks of his dual great performances. Oh, well. To his 2 out of 3 stellar performances.
He had three performances in 2022, and
one was good.
And one of them was good.
come at us, haters.
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is, and I know Pete can see my list here as well, and I can't see Pete's list, so this will be fun. But we're going to give our 10s. So I'll give my 10, Pete will give his 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, so on and so forth. However, if my number 10, say, is Pete's number 3, we're going to hold off talking about it until we get to your number 3.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So you don't have to tell me where it is on the list. You just have to be like, no, we're not talking about it yet.
Right.
All right.
All right.
Would you like me to start? Would you like to start?
You know what? You can start.
I can
Nick.
start. Look, I'll start on the disappointment because I automatically put at number 10 the one I haven't seen.
Right. Okay.
And the one Disney live action adaptation that I have not seen was 2022's Pinocchio.
A wise choice.
There's probably a myriad of reasons. I was busy. I was only excited to watch one Pinocchio movie last year, and that was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
That's right.
No, look, obviously, this movie came out on Disney Plus Day. All the Disney Investor Day stuff was like, we're so excited to release Pinocchio. And then the embargo for it was like the day of. And that's just usually you get a pretty average idea of like, okay, this is probably potentially not going to be great. The reviews came out. It was trash. Like no one liked it. And I just thought, I have a lot to watch as it is. I'm okay with not having to watch this one.
Yeah.
So automatically at number 10, but I also don't think it would be too far from this position on the list as Pinocchio for me. So that is my naughty Nick. You didn't watch the movie for the podcast.
I'll punish him later.
You just have to do what you have to do.
But you know what? We can talk about it.
Is it your number 10?
It's my number 10.
Okay, so you watched a screener of this, I'm guessing, right?
I was in San Francisco.
Oh my God, that's right. This was TIFF time.
I think it was about 2 or 3 days before TIFF.
Mm-hmm.
If my memory serves me correctly, I think this was the day that I was buying tickets for all the movies at TIFF. So I was up early, trying to get through this bloody online system to get tickets to TIFF. And I managed to get most of the movies I wanted to see.
Yeah, nice.
And I had the screener there, and I was like, if I don't watch this now, I'm not going to have the chance to watch this movie because the next like 11 days were going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, crazy.
And I was staying with my brother and his girlfriend, and they were sort of like a bit late to rise that day,
right?
Because
San Francisco, and
catching up with your siblings and just doing all the things that you shouldn't do. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch this. Okay. And
boy, oh boy.
I was like, I'm going to be optimistic.
Yep. No.
And it didn't take long for me to just go, Tom Hanks is awful in this film. Like, I was because
were you going into it as well being like, I've already done Elvis. I've already done this.
So there was that. And there was just this weird attempt to make like modern day jokes in a film that was obviously not modern.
Right.
And it just was like this.
I'm not a fan of that.
Like I can't remember who it is. I feel like it's either Luke Evans or Chris Evans. They make like a joke about the name, and then it's kind of like they say it, and it's almost just like they look at the audience like,
yeah, right.
It's just like, it's just bad. Like I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel any whimsy for it.
I didn't feel anything.
And it's also like I was just like, your performance is bad.
Yeah, okay.
And I've seen this. Like,
yeah, okay.
And I know that like a lot of these films, it's like, yes, we've seen the story before.
Totally.
But some of them do it better than others in making it feel.
Oh God, yeah. Like
the
live action adds a different element to it at least. But you can say for most of these Disney films that there is a little bit of soullessness.
Yeah.
In them for sure.
So I just did not enjoy this experience.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And I was in holiday mode. So I was like super like
you were just
happy. And I was watching and I was like, this is garbage.
Oh shit.
So I'm very glad I also had all of my TIFF films to like.
I'm glad I had 2 weeks of like genuinely
bring me out
great fucking movies to watch afterwards.
Yeah. So yeah,
it may shock you to learn that Pinocchio was barely in anyone's responses.
Yeah.
It was actually a lot of definitely not Pinocchio.
Yeah.
So shout out to Pinocchio.
Cool.
All right, number 9. My number 9 is I remember seeing this one in the cinemas, and it was from a director who had already helmed a live action Disney film.
Yes.
And is a director who I have, a decent amount of like respect for their filmography. But I couldn't believe how bored I was during Dumbo. I could not, I thought there was Tim Burton's visual style I thought was fantastic. I thought he, at least for like the flying elephant and all the circus stuff, I was like, oh my God, this is great. Michael Keaton is one of the most boring villains in that movie. I think, who else is in that film? Is it
It's Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Colin Farrell, and Evergreen. Who I've realized it's Evergreen. It's not Evergreen. It's Evergreen.
Evergreen, like Evergreen, or
yeah, apparently it's Evergreen. Like
there we go,
Evergreen. Yeah.
I just thought it was just so dull.
Yeah,
like it's just like the best part about the Dumbo animated film is that it's short and it's about the elephant. It's like 70 minutes long.
Dumbo is like 64 minutes.
There we go. It's short as hell. And
yeah.
Then we added Dumbo's in the live action
like
remake is 152 minutes.
Yeah.
Or something around that. And I just remember being...
112 minutes.
112.
An hour 52.
There we go. Yeah. So did I say 152 minutes?
Yeah.
It's 2.5 hours long. No,
it's not. It's still long.
It's still fucking long.
It needs to be. Yeah.
And it's just dull. It is so dull apart from like but even like the color palette's really muted because it's supposed to be like a sad story.
And it's like set in like, post-World War
It's something.
II.
Yeah. It's something like that. Yeah.
I like... This is...
Where is it on your list?
It's the same.
Okay, yeah. Wow. This is great. We haven't looked at each other's lists. We're just so in sync. We're co-listers as well. Co-rankers?
I guess so. Well, so far.
So far. Yeah, true.
I actually thought... I love Colin Farrell. Him and his 2 kids in this were just... boring as fuck. They're so disengaged emotionally. And I was like, this is a film about an elephant that can fly, and the kids like act as if they just don't give a fuck about it.
But the thing is as well, they're like stale like they're in a Tim Burton movie, right?
Yeah.
But Dumbo is not a Tim Burton story.
No.
If you know what I mean. So it's one of those ones where it's like if I compared this like Miss Peregrine's Home for Whatever Children.
Yeah.
That tone, that darkness works in that movie because it is a darker movie.
And like dark shadows.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But for Dumbo, it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's like, and the daughter especially was like, she was really just like as if like comatose.
It's like Wednesday Addams, but like not as good as Jenna Ortega doing it. Yeah.
I actually liked Michael Keaton as the villain because he's campy. And
he's camping at the most.
Like he's like, I'm in a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah, okay.
So I liked him, but his performance then is like, cause super offsets everything else.
Totally.
Because everyone, Evergreen is she's quite charming enough in this.
She's charming and she, I mean, having worked with Tim Burton before as well,
I think, that's
it. Well, I guess Keaton has too, yeah.
I think Keaton and Green are just like, look, we understand this.
What this is happening here, yeah.
It's just so...
It's all over the place. But for me, the majority of it was dull.
Yeah.
It's just dull.
Like for a movie that should be like really like, and magical, it's just not.
Like it's, literally
I
magical.
will say, I think Dumbo the creation of Dumbo is incredible.
God, yeah, totally.
Like, visually, I think it's great.
Which is probably a common thread in a lot of these movies we're about to talk about is that they look great.
But yeah, it's just, for a movie, and obviously, like they were wise to get rid of like the talking crows because that was one of those things.
Totally.
Upon reflection, where it's like that seems a bit racist.
That's really bad.
And it is.
Totally.
But yes, I just
no, not a fan.
Yeah,
not a fan. So 10s and 9s, quite equal here.
10s across the board.
10s. Well, speaking of 10s, let's talk about 8s. Number 8. Mine is another Disney Plus adaptation, and we are living in an age where when something's kind of released on Disney Plus now, it's like the direct to DVD sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
It is essentially straight to streaming is kind of the new
straight to DVD. And I just...
A DVD for the kids out there is a physical disc that films are still released on and should be still purchased because
Buy physical media.
If it disappears on streaming, you no longer have that film.
And you won't be able to watch it anywhere ever.
Unless you own it on DVD.
But also, please bring more 4K movies to Australia.
Yeah, we'd like that.
Pretty please.
Yeah.
So number 8 for me is Lady and the Tramp. And the reason it's under Dumbo is because I had more of
above Dumbo, really.
Above Dumbo, technically, that's true. Is that I had more of a visceral feeling reaction to Dumbo, whereas I forgot Lady and the Tramp existed till we started doing the setup for this episode. And I remember watching it, and that's it. That's all I have to say.
Right. Okay.
Where is Lady and the Tramp? Is it a bit lower on the list for you?
Well, it's higher on the list.
Yeah,
true. We're going 10-1.
Yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I'm
it's
saying.
a little bit.
Do you want to wait? We'll wait and talk about it.
I mean, there's very little to talk about, but it's only higher up on mine because
you hate
because the other movie, the number 8 and the number 7 were I had a much more like
visceral reaction
to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
what's your number 8?
My number 8.
Okay.
Is The Lion King.
Interesting. We'll talk about that's my number 7. So it's right under Lady and the Tramp. So take it away. Take it away. Why do you hate The Lion King more than I do?
I don't hate it more than Dumbo. I like it more than Dumbo.
No, I said more than I do.
Oh, then you do. I thought you
What
said
do you think I call it? I'm Dumbo?
I love The Lion King, the animated version.
God, yeah. It's one of the best movies ever.
And I think the problem with the live action is even though it's like, I think the voice casting is great.
Yep.
For most of it.
Yeah, totally.
I think Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner as Timon and Pumbaa.
When they came on to the screen, they were the best part of the movie.
They're the best things about it.
Country mile.
Donald Glover, I was like, Donald Glover is fine.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Beyonce.
I'm sorry.
No.
Beehive. She's overrated as fuck in this.
Oh,
like she gets the end Beyonce. Like look, she's
paid for that.
She's a great singer. I'm not.
Oh God, yeah.
that.
Oh no, talented, incredibly talented artist. Yeah.
But the one thing about this film, apart from Eichner and Rogen, everybody's delivery is so flat.
It's too real. Which is kind of funny considering it's like, oh, it's supposed to be like a real take on Lion King.
What the thing is, because like the animals have zero expression because it's like, this is what an animal would actually look like. And I get it, but I'm like, but we want just a little bit
touch of emotion.
And because
just a touch.
And I think because the film that is also about animals that is
probably
much further up on the list.
Very much higher on the list. Yeah.
Got that right.
Absolutely.
But
it was a good mix of realism and cartoonish.
Yeah. I just think this film just takes itself so seriously.
It's soulless, and that is the word I hear get thrown around from other people. It's like, it is just a soulless remake,
and it's I like the and I was like, the songs are great, the music is great, like,
but they were in the original as well.
And this plays just like beat for beat.
I will say this: the one thing, and the only reason I think it's a little bit high, like.
And look, I'm saying it's
7, not 8.
And like, for me, it's higher up than Dumbo, because Eichner and Rogen are so.
Eichner and Rogen are a big
good.
part for me.
Yeah.
I also think it is stunning to look at. The Battle of Pride Rock is phenomenal.
Like, as much as everybody looks real, it's an insanely beautiful looking film.
It's
like,
so
you look at it and just
photorealistic.
go, this is real.
And I think that's more of the positivity of that is more of a celebration of the people who created it.
Yeah.
But I remember walking out of it. I remember that screening, and I was so tired because I just moved house that weekend.
Did you go to
the previous screening? Yeah. And I remember I was exhausted, and Rhiannon had come along too. We were just both sitting there, and we were just dead. Timon and Pumbaa come up. We were like, oh my God, this is hilarious. Yeah. And then I just remember being so engaged into the Battle of Pride Rock that I was like, this is phenomenal. Also, you can't beat Jeremy Irons as Scar. I'm sorry, but you just can't beat him. He's that fucking good.
Yeah.
But yeah, soulless. It's just so derivative. Like, it's annoying. It's frustrating.
Yeah. So what was? So Lady in the Tramp was number. You're
number
number
8, and then Lion King was my number 7. So your number 7 is.
My number 7 is Alice in Wonderland.
Interesting. Let's hold on to it because it's a little bit. It's a little bit higher on my list.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My number 6 is Mulan.
My number 6 is Lady in the Tramp.
Okay. All right. Well, let's talk Lady in the Tramp.
Well, Lady in the Tramp, like, even it's like one of those things. I like that they went for something a little bit different from the cartoon.
Yeah.
Like even and like this one to me is like it's very much for kids.
Yes.
And it's like they've done it. It's like we're not going to make this film for people that have seen the animated version.
The animated one,
it's kind of like let's just try and make this its own thing, but then obviously bring in like you can't have like the film without them eating the spaghetti
and stuff. Yeah. Which is like the poster on.
Yeah. I think like the voice cast is all actually really good in this. Sometimes
I'll give you that.
Sometimes the animated mouths are a bit like okay, it looks very animated.
It's like that Air Dogs, Snow Dogs sort of early 2000s
when it's
vibe,
them just like when it's them just being animals, I was like, it looks really pretty.
It looks good. Yeah, totally.
So I think it's just because this film was just so like, it's just nice.
Yeah.
And that's why it's higher up for me because I'm like, because it doesn't like, there's no offense.
No,
there's
it's
nothing. It's just really nice.
It's just super nice.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. And I get that. Same guy who directed the Lego Ninjago movie, which by the way, super underrated. Lego Ninjago is hilarious.
I feel like I need to see that movie again because I remember watching it going, I don't know what's going on.
Oh, it's so random.
It's so chaotic.
But I love not condoning anything, but I may have been under influence watching that movie.
Okay. I think I was just tired.
Which sometimes is a hallucinogen of itself.
Yeah.
I just like Lady in the Tramp movie was just forgettable. Super forgettable. Like it was fine.
I think it's higher up for me than Alice in Wonderland just because it didn't kind of anger me as much.
Anger you as much.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. So Mulan was my number 6, so we're gonna hold on to that.
Right.
Because my number 5 is Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
So we'll talk about Alice. So what was that on yours? That was
my number 5. Oh, number 7 for me. Yeah.
2010's Alice in Wonderland.
I couldn't believe this movie made $1 billion.
Yeah. Okay. I got it. I understood it.
I guess at the time it was like it was kind of it was like it took really big swings. It was like in the 3D craze of everything.
It so heavily leaned into that aspect of it as well.
I love Tim Burton as a director.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
He has made some of my favorite films ever.
Absolutely.
Batman Returns, Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice.
Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, great.
Edward Scissorhands, fucking awesome.
I like Sweeney Todd too.
Sweeney Todd, great. But I think just because it was so like it was just so CGI'd.
Yeah.
Even though all of the actors were real.
Yeah.
I love I think Mia Wasikowska is great as Alice.
Yeah.
I love Helena Bonham Carter.
Oh yeah,
leading fully into camp. I love Anne Hathaway as well.
Johnny Depp is the Mad Hatter.
Like, I liked bits of him.
I don't
need the dance scene at the end.
I didn't need the dance scene, but I also feel like it was a child's Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
You know, it was Jack Sparrow with a bit of a higher pitch.
And that's the thing where it's like it almost was like he was unable to.
It was high Jack Sparrow, not drunk Jack Sparrow. Yeah.
He was almost unable to like be anything else other than Jack Sparrow. I think it was just because I
think I like how weird this movie is as well. Like it for me was, which is kind of maybe even a little derivative of like the whole point of these Disney adaptations. Like they should be for families, should be for kids. But I was like, Alice in Wonderland seems more mature.
Yeah, Alice in Wonderland
very Tim Burton.
Definitely not for like little kids.
No, because I remember I took my little sister to see the sequel. Through the Looking Glass, and the only reason we saw that is because the Angry Birds movie was sold out. So I was like, "Fuck, all right, we'll go see Alice."
What a time!
What a time! The Angry Birds movie
in the cinemas.
Oh
when
man,
Angry Birds are sold out.
Back in a day where I had to pay for tickets. I know, I couldn't believe it. And we sat through it, and we were both bored as shit. Like the sequel. The sequel. It's bad. The sequel's terrible.
Yeah,
but I do have like I said, it's number 5 on my list, so it's not making
upper echelon.
No, totally. And it's not one that I'm singing its praises on the streets, but comparatively, I was like, I remember having fun with it. I've probably seen it the most times out of all the.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's been since 2010. So obviously we watched it back when we did the 10 years on podcast.
That's the only other time I've watched it.
And I've probably seen it maybe 2 or 3 times between the cinemas and that. So,
right. I had a little desire to rewatch it, and then when I had to rewatch it, I was like, "This is why."
I remember you not liking it. Yeah. And I think I remember just being like, "It's fine."
Like, I mean, that's why. I mean, it's number 7.
Yeah, so it's not the
like
worst.
it's not like It's not like I hate it. I like bits of it.
But it's
I'm just
lower
like,
echelon.
But it's like just things that I'm like, I wouldn't want to revisit this. And I'm probably not going to revisit Lady and the Tramp either, just because it's not like a movie that I would find a lot to rewatch in.
Totally, yeah.
But I just remember being like, this is nice.
What a sweet little film.
Yeah.
What's your number 5?
Number 5 is Aladdin.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk. Aladdin's my number 4.
Right. Okay.
This is the one I was alluding to earlier, that I walked in with zero expectation, despite being a Guy Ritchie film who is a director I very much so enjoy.
Yeah.
This is also a movie I went to with you.
So, fun fact.
Fun facts.
When Nick and I
first met.
Yeah.
When I was just but a young buck trying to find his feet in this hostile world.
This guy like slid into my DMs.
I 100% slid into your DMs.
But he was very respectful.
I was like, give me the tickets, bro.
He was just like asking for essentially career advice.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And
it initially started from, I know I'd commented on some of your stuff before, but it's when you're like, I have 2 extra tickets to Detective Pikachu. And I was like,
yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
I would like it to go.
So he went to that. And then we first like met at Pikachu.
It was
kind of like, Pete, hi. And I was like, oh my God, Nick, hi. Then
and who would have thought?
And then Aladdin came up, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw this guy a bone.
And I grabbed onto it with both hands,
and has never let go. But yeah, and I felt Guy Ritchie I was like, this is a weird choice for Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, even though Guy Ritchie at that point had done fucking like the King Arthur movie.
King Arthur, which I'm a defender. I'm a King Arthur defender.
I hate it.
And Sherlock Holmes though as well.
I love Sherlock. I love his Sherlock Holmes movies, but it still felt like a weird choice for
no one expected this. Yeah.
And I was
and then it was obviously going into like the Will Smith Blue Genie stuff. Everyone's like, what's going on?
And
here?
Obviously you can't replace Robin Williams at all.
No.
But I remember. So I went like I didn't go into this being like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I did know how I feel. Like I went into it being like, I don't know how I feel about this, but I didn't go into it being like, I'm going to hate this or anything. So it's number 5 for me. I mean, mainly because like the other 4, obviously I like more.
Totally. Yeah.
But this,
well, that makes sense.
This was nowhere near as like the train wreck I was expecting.
No, and I think both of us thought that. Because I do remember when the movie ended, we both kind of like,
huh?
Oh, that was like we didn't hate that. We thought it was long.
Yes, it's long. It was long. And I'll admit the first bit when Aladdin is the song is like the like the dun 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 dun.
The big
his big like
colorful.
Running around.
Yeah.
Him running around like the streets and like
the shot of him diving off
the way that it was like the footage was like sped up.
That's right.
And I remember being like, that's weird. And
it's
I was
a weird
like,
choice.
And I went, oh please don't let this be
every musical number. Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't.
No. And he was fine. The guy playing Aladdin was fine. Mina Massoud, I believe.
I think Naomi Scott is great as Jasmine.
Okay, so
and her voice is insane.
Her song, the original song they wrote for the Speechless.
Yeah.
She's brilliant, fantastic in the movie, but also that scene is fantastic in the film. Yeah. Also, I developed a huge fucking crush on Naomi Scott after that movie.
Pretty fucking.
And then when she popped up in Charlie's Angels, I was just like, I'm in love.
Charlie's Angels and
she's done a few things since, but
Power Rangers.
Oh my God, that's the other one.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Power Rangers was pre-Aladdin.
Okay, so I think I more so knew her name from Aladdin.
Right.
But I think, I mean, she's also gorgeous and she's amazing.
Rangers, fucking underrated.
If there is any way for us to be able to get that on this fucking show, I want to watch that movie again so bad.
We can come up with something.
We'll find a way. We make our own fucking rules.
We'll do something.
But yeah, it was
And I thought Will Smith did a good job.
I agree. There was some bits that was just a little over the top.
Yeah.
But I think we were all expecting that. That's just a Will Smith.
That's a Will Smith
Will Smithism.
Yeah.
But I would agree. Like for the most part, pretty like
And
his,
it has
You Never Had a Friend Like Me scene is
that's great. And also the Prince Ali scene.
Oh my God, yeah.
is
That's right.
That is like because it's just like the absolute spectacle
It's
of
bombastic, that scene.
Um,
And colourful. I think Guy Ritchie made a very literal, colourful movie.
And it's kind of great when you have these other films that seem to have no soul.
Yes.
And then you have Guy Ritchie just being like, I'm just going to pump this. Like he pumps it full of like life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like it's a beautiful film to look at. Yes, it's long, but it's also, there's so much going on that you're almost like, I don't really care
about. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I was always interested in the fact that the original, so Jafar
Yeah.
was offered to Tom Hardy.
For the live action.
And I would have loved that.
Oh my God.
I don't see Tom Hardy ever accepting
No,
that.
but I'm
I was
picturing
like,
it.
how great would that be?
All right, Aladdin, what's up, mate? Well, listen here, Aladdin. What do you do his warrior voice?
Yeah.
Like
Or his Bane voice.
Aladdin, here we are.
You've never had a friend
my
like
Arnold
me.
Schwarzenegger impersonation instead.
But yeah, it was a genuine like surprise.
It was. I think that's why it's so high up
Yeah.
on my number 4 on my list as well. Because I was that was the one where I was like, that one actually.
Yeah.
I walked away. I was like, that wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Which I also think speaks to the majority of the films to be like, that's at number 4, and I'm like, it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
So that was my number 4. That was your number 5. So what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Cinderella.
All right. Let's hold on to that one for a second. Yeah. Let's just hold on to it for a little second.
Just a little bit.
My number 3 is A Tale as Old as Time.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Certain as the sun rises in the east. So I did the musical of Beauty and the Beast at school. I was.
Who did you play?
Oh no, I was like, I was part of the ensemble. So I was.
Were you like an angry crowds person?
No, I was Gaston's henchman. I wasn't LeFou. I was.
I could see the LeFou for you though.
Well, firstly, fuck you, and secondly, thank you. No. It was one of those things where it was like, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a charismatic person.
He is.
I'm mildly animated.
He is.
But I can't sing for shit, and I couldn't dance to save my life.
See, I can't sing, but I can dance.
Well, and I've seen you dance, and you've seen me attempt to dance.
Yeah.
Once you get enough drinks in me, I move enough.
And it's like, that's what makes him so charming is that he gives it his all.
Oh, I give 110% on the dance floor.
Yeah.
I just don't look good doing it. But when it's a choreographed dance, I was okay.
Right.
It was all right. So I was in the musical at school, Beauty and the Beast, and I had 2 speaking lines. So I actually got to wear a microphone.
Oh, that's I've always wanted to wear one of those Britney headsets.
We performed for 4 nights. I had to go in 3 hours early for makeup and everything. Like I was living the star-studded life.
I was great.
Loving it. No, I'll show you some photos later. There's some great photos.
Yes.
But I had seen the animated film obviously before that. But obviously I watched the animated film, then knew the musical inside and out. So when it came time in 2017 to watch the live action remake, I was actually kind of excited for it.
Right.
And it was good. Like, I think it was really well made. I think it's quite a faithful adaptation of the musical, in saying that it doesn't really change any of the beats. But
I mean, it adds in a few songs.
We got a few songs there, and there's a few like we focus on some of the cutlery, the animated characters and stuff. But I just feel like the tone was right. It's the perfect amount of like dark enough for kids, but no, you're not too scary. I thought Dan Stevens was really good as the Beast, and I thought the animation, or like even when they used mild practical effects for him as well, was really good. Emma Watson's fine. Emma Watson for me is a take it or leave it actress. I don't really think she's that good in anything, to be honest, but she's completely okay as Belle. Right. Like the opening musical number where it's the her going around her city. I was like, everything else is really great in that scene, but she is fine.
It's like, so Beauty and the Beast is number 2 for me.
Okay, yeah.
But I think it's like, I know, and I agree with all of that. Like the thing that annoys me about it is like when you hear everybody singing in that film.
Oh god,
Apart from her, like she sounds so auto-tuned.
Yes, totally. Yeah.
Whereas everybody else sounds like
them.
like them.
Like Ewan McGregor sounds like himself.
live.
Yeah.
So
totally.
that big Belle scene where it's just like, what we can do with a girl like Belle.
Yeah.
It sounds like this sort of big live ensemble, and then she comes in, and it's so like
noticeable.
It's so perfect because there's no like.
There's too much note change happening in like one
for it just to be this one. Yeah. But it's number 2. It's number 2 for me because like I it's one of those films that I like. It's probably the most rewatchable for me.
Absolutely, totally. Yeah,
I think
Bill Condon directed it too, and he's a good director.
it's a beautiful looking film.
Great looking film.
I think like the
scale of it
and like the musical numbers are just like insane.
Be Our Guest is
great.
Is amazing in both the animated and the live action remake.
Luke Evans is like fucking
oh my god,
incredible.
yeah,
he is so good
as Gaston. He's fantastic as Gaston.
So good, and like Josh Gad is. I know that you don't particularly like Josh Gad.
I will admit, I will even admit in Beauty and the Beast, he's all right.
He leans into that like sort of that like pathetic like love puppy sort of thing. But yeah, it's high up for me because like I think it's just the rewatchability. It's a beautiful film to look at.
Totally, yeah.
Apart from Emma Watson, I think everybody's great. I don't dislike Emma Watson.
Yeah.
Like, but I agree with you. It's like it could have been played by anybody.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And like I think because of the auto tune, it just makes you just go, oh,
yeah.
everyone else
like
just
what
seems
could
like
have been.
what could have been. Like,
who would you cast? Like, obviously, my choice is like Emma Stone.
Right.
I think it would have been a great Belle. It's a tough one.
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
I don't know. Like a part of me is like, okay, so there's this girl called you can even look this up if you want. There's a girl called Madison Beer.
Oh, yeah, I know Madison
And
Beer.
she's like a singer. And I think she kind of has, I mean, she's kind of a sex pot. But
yeah, I get
think
that.
I've seen her done up quite like sort of more wholesome.
Yeah.
And I think, she's kind of,
totally.
She kind of has and her voice is incredible.
Yeah, right.
So that's sort of like my first
first reaction. Totally,
but then obviously you'd maybe like I don't know what she's like as an actress, so maybe
you kind of you risk it. But I mean, at that point, kind of anything could have been better than.
But then you sort of think about like this was like 2017, so you just go, well, in 2017, was there someone who would have been more
who's like the it person? Yeah,
like then you think like who knows? At one point, you'd be like maybe Margot Robbie was gonna be like you just like you don't know if any actresses were.
In the running
but
for
I guess,
it,
but I get Emma Watson because it was like post Harry Potter.
Oh, and she's got
that like
she's got the nature of Belle about her,
and she's got that sort of natural like wholesomeness.
Yes,
to
totally.
her.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why it's high up for me, just because it's just rewatchable. I think it just looks really pretty.
Yeah.
And it is the movie that I have like revisited the most.
Totally.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I think that's a strong 3 for me as well. Like 3, 2, and 1 for me are like strong movies anyway.
Yeah.
So what was your number 3?
So my number 3 is Mulan.
Interesting. So that was my number 6.
Right.
All right. You kick it off. Tell me why you like Mulan so much.
So obviously Mulan was like one of the big casualties of COVID because it was meant to come out. They spent so much money on it. It was getting released.
It was supposed to come out in March. We were. I know we were so close to
actually
seeing it. Yeah.
And then obviously, so I don't know if did it actually go to cinemas anywhere or was it completely. No, I think
it was completely like that premiere access on Disney Plus.
Right, so it became Disney Plus. I'm also very happy that Disney decided to release it on all formats in terms of because I have this on 4K.
Yes, yeah. No, I don't have it actually. Oh, did they do a steelbook for it?
I don't know if they did a steelbook, but
no, then I don't have it. Then.
But fuck, this movie in 4K.
I'll tell you what. It was a movie. Even watching it on Disney Plus, it's a stunning looking movie.
And I think it's high. I think it's number 3 for me, purely because they decided to like, you know what? Let's just make this a straightforward action drama.
Yeah.
Like they took away
the fight choreography is fun. A lot of it's really well done.
And I know at one point there was a lot of debate over the actress that plays Mulan and like her like stance on something political, which
Right, because obviously, like, there's a lot of stuff in China that is,
and it's one of those things where I'm like, it doesn't to me. I'm not gonna.
And I know Disney caught some flack of like where they filmed a lot of the scenes and stuff as well. So it's kind of one of those ones where like if you are morally not inclined to support that, then
that's fair.
Fine. Yeah.
But I think just because it was like it took a different route.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I think it's like it is a beautiful film to look at. I think all the performances are great. It had just the right amount of like humor to it. I think it's kind of great that, you know, it's a movie that probably if it was released now might be even more like progressive just because it's like a woman stepping into like a man's like atmosphere. And
totally.
what she has to do. But that's why it's high up for me, just because it went with a different aspect. And I think it's like incredibly well directed. It's like the action choreography is incredible. So that's why for me.
No, and I agree with those things. I definitely agree with those things. I think it's visually stunning. Again, the use of colors in that film is actually quite amazing. The action is fun. I just don't think there was enough of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
The battle scene at the end is actually pretty cool. But it just wasn't enough action for me to be like, this is an action movie.
And I know a lot of people were like, oh, where's the dragon?
Where's Mushu?
Because Eddie Murphy.
So I was just going to say that because I rewatched, because I bought the animated Mulan on 4K and rewatched it earlier this year. And I love that movie so much. It is so good.
Yeah.
And Mushu's a big part of that.
And it would have been, and you know what? It would have been kind of cool to see if they went, but I think it's because they were like
the type of movie they were making,
and because they went with like, we're gonna go as realistic as possible.
Oh, totally. And
I think that's
a
also
talking
why,
little dragon does not fit that mold.
And it's like, they're I think a live action Mulan that takes a lot of what the animated film did could be incredible.
Totally.
But I think just the fact that they were like, you know what, we're gonna kind of buck this musical tradition and go with something quite straightforward, kind
totally.
of as natural as possible.
I do like how they worked the "I'll make a man out of you" music into that scene. I thought that was quite cool as well. But I don't know. Like, I feel like to me, it's a similar thing to The Lion King in the sense of like, I just feel like some of the magic was lost. In regards to that. But whether that, like you said, the movie they were making is different
like
to
whether
that
that's
anyway.
You sort of
is that an actual thing I can criticize or? And I've only seen it the once. Like I saw it, and I saw it 2020 when we were watching so much shit at home anyway. So it was just not one of those things. Like,
so I was
I spent $30 and watched it. You know
so
what I mean?
I was lucky to get the screener for this, and I watched it on the screener, and then I bought it on 4K,
and it was like,
and rewatching it in 4K, I was like, "Fool, this movie!
It's pretty
beautiful.
stunning. It's stunning."
And you know what? We get Christina Aguilera singing "Reflection," which is, I think, one of the greatest Disney songs. So
there we are. Makes sense. Makes sense as why it's there.
Yeah.
So my number 2 is your number 4.
My number 4,
Cinderella. Now, the one, I guess, like we said, the one that you could argue kind of kicked off the live action adaptations, but Kenneth Branagh directed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a win for me already because I think Kenneth Branagh is actually such a fantastic visual director.
Yeah.
We've spoken at length to each other about how much we love The Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, how we're excited for Haunting in Venice. He does action well. He did Thor. He did Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit.
He did
Shakespeare films.
Yeah, Much Ado About Nothing.
And Henry V and Hamlet and all of them. So he's a very eclectic director, but has a strong visual style. But I actually think this Cinderella movie is just very sweet.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually just a really nice, it doesn't try and, similar for me to maybe, like, whereas Beauty and the Beast does have a bit of darkness to it, like, this has a nicer tone. It's just a sweet princess story, you know. It's the girl who was abused by us. Well, I was just say darker tone. Who was so sweet. Yeah. But you know, the tale of overcoming adversity and shit people.
Yeah.
Which is great. It is Lily
James.
Lily James.
Oh, Lily James.
Who's fantastic as Cinderella. Again, it's a lot of it for me is just like faithful adaptation, visually great. Lily James is fantastic, but also just as a quick little shout out. A lot of my family's from England, from the UK, right?
Yeah.
And second or third cousins of mine were housekeepers at a place called Blenheim Palace, which is obviously an old timey palace. And when I went over in 2019, actually stayed there with them on palace grounds. So I can basically say I lived in a palace for like 4 days.
Yeah.
But they filmed scenes of Cinderella there. So it was funny coming back on the plane because I was like, oh, Cinderella's on there. I'm going to quickly check this out. And I was like, holy shit, I was just there. So it's like a little claim to fame as well.
Nice.
But I just like, for me, I feel like I just remember enjoying this more than I enjoyed Beauty and the Beast, but I still think Beauty and the Beast is really solid.
Right.
And I think that's why it just edged into number 2 for me. Because I'm like, and I think this has universal acclaim as well. I think everyone really likes Cinderella.
Yeah.
Both this film and the story as well. So I don't know, I just have an affinity for it, I guess.
Nice.
Why do you hate it?
Yeah, I hate it so much. No, to me it was just at number 4 because it's weird. Like I think it was just too faithful.
Right. Yeah.
I look at it as Mulan at least tried something different.
Yeah.
But it is like Cinderella. It is really, really sweet.
Yep.
Lily James is just like the epitome of angelicness. Like she's so beautiful in this film. I like that Richard Madden and her.
Yes,
I like that they sort of meet prior to the whole Ball thing.
Totally,
it kind of sets up this little something. Also, Kate Blanchett is
she's amazing
so good in this.
as I think
the costume design is insane. I do not dislike this movie. I think it's just I just remember watching it going, this is really like it's really sticking to like the Cinderella story that we've all seen.
Which is funny, hey, because like when Disney divert from it is when they're at their most divisive.
Yeah.
But they haven't really done that a lot since.
But it is.
It's just interesting.
It's a really sweet movie.
It's just a sweet movie.
But I think Mulan, Mulan edges it out just because I was like, okay, I like that Mulan.
You had a bit more into investment.
But yeah, I think Cinderella, it looks incredible. Kenneth Branagh is he's such a great director. Like I'm always excited to see what he does.
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, like Lily James and Kate Blanchett, it's
a pretty star-studded little vehicle.
Yeah.
But that brings us to number 1. So we obviously have the same number 1.
Obviously.
Because we haven't said it yet.
haven't said it.
I was super pumped for this movie when it came out because I grew up watching a VHS copy of the original animated film.
Yeah. Have you seen the first live action adaptation?
I have.
Jason Scott Lee and Lena Headey.
Right. I mean, I've seen it. I saw it when I was really young, so I don't remember it as much. My affinity was definitely towards the animated film.
Yeah.
But I was excited for this when it was coming out. Jon Favreau directing, so like some big names behind these movies.
But also you took big names behind this film. This cast,
cast is unreal.
Also, but we'll talk about the cast. Like pretty much the casts of all of these Disney films are all stacked. Like Beauty and the Beast is like Ewan McGregor, Emma Thompson, Kevin Kline,
Luke Evans,
it's
Josh
huge.
Gad,
but Lady and the Tramp. I'm not Lady. The Jungle Book.
He's like.
To be fair, Lady and the Tramp has a pretty big cast too. Justin Theroux, Tessa Thompson.
Sam Elliott's in it. Yeah, that's right.
But yes, The Jungle Book is like next level.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
So I was excited to see it, and I was working at the cinema I was working at that point weren't showing it in 3D.
Oh, okay.
Which shocked me. So I think Rhiannon and I had been just started dating at this point. We were a couple of months in.
Freshies.
And I was like, get in the car. We're going to this cinema who have it in 3D. Just because I wanted to watch it in 3D. Right. And I was just there. I was like a little kid again. I loved this movie. It is so funny. The action is fantastic. The CGI is brilliant.
Well, that was one of the things and I think it's at the end of the film when it sort of talks about where this was filmed.
Yeah.
And it was filmed on a soundstage in Los Angeles.
Crazy, right?
And this is one of those films that when you watch it, you just how the fuck did they create this? And it's funny when you sort of look at this and The Lion King.
Yes, right. Yeah.
Both directed by Jon Favreau.
Yeah, funnily enough. Yeah.
And it's just what he created with The Jungle Book, I think, and also he let.
I love it. I'm just looking at the stills now.
It's because he lets these characters actually
be cartoons.
But at the same time, there's a realism to how they move.
Yes, totally.
But he sort of has, there's like that sort of campy darkness to it
toward,
all.
yeah. Well, speaking of that cast, Bill Murray as Baloo, Ben Kingsley, Idris Elba, Lupita Nyong'o, Scarlett Johansson, Giancarlo Esposito,
Christopher Walken,
and Gary Shandling.
Yeah, the late Gary.
Well, I was
Shandling.
like, bless, like rest in peace, I love Gary Shandling. But like, I mean, obviously the scene stealer is Christopher Walken doing his musical number.
So the funny thing is
King
though,
Louis.
it's like I love the two musical scenes.
Yes, because it doesn't do
But at
so.
the
it does.
but at the
You
same
never had a
time-
friend like
I
me,
mean,
and then
and-
King Louis song. Yeah,
But at the same time, it was like they felt very shoehorned into the film.
Oh God, yeah,
because
they're-
the rest
yeah.
of the movie is like straightforward.
There's a straight up drama,
So-
adventure drama.
So when there's these two big musical numbers, it was a jarring shift for me.
Yeah, I get
And it's
that.
like
yeah.
it's not, and it's like it wasn't enough for me to go, oh,
This movie sucks.
But
yeah.
it was just like
It was noticeable.
it was weird because you're just like, oh, it could, like you think, oh, a full musical with this could have been insane.
Absolutely mental.
And if you took those two musical scenes out, it doesn't change this film at all.
No, I agree. No, absolutely.
But-
it does take the King Louis scene away.
Yeah, but
that's pretty much it.
But you could also
You could have done it differently.
You could have
yeah.
had him almost like just having a narrative view of what that song.
That song's
is.
about. No, totally.
That was probably like my only like. It's not even a gripe, but
No,
it's
no,
like
but
my only
it's-
thing with
it's
like
the
how this,
it's your criticism of the film. Yeah, totally,
but
yeah.
like to me, this is like a 4.5-star film.
Oh God, yeah. It was one of my favorites of the year. I remember putting it in my top 10 for
it's
2016.
So, it's like so beautiful.
yeah, totally.
The little kid, like the fact,
Mowgli,
like the fact that you just like this kid is like acting opposite nothing. This
Neil
entire,
Sethi, I believe his
this
name is.
he's like you just think you're actually acting opposite nobody.
Yeah. Dude, unreal. But like even the chemistry he has with Baloo.
Yeah.
And then it's just perfectly voiced by Bill Murray.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's just it's equal amounts fun, but
This is
the
a-
highlight of the movie is Idris Elba as Shere Khan.
Yeah. And this is a dark movie.
Oh, it's because he is a menacing
like this,
fucker
is,
in this
is
film.
like
Menacing.
okay, like this is one of those movies where you go, oh, I don't know if I'd take young kids to it.
No.
It's pretty, you know.
I mean, it's PG
It's
here,
PG,
but it's
but
also
it's-
kind of violent, if I remember.
It just had like this. It has like a sort of sinisterness to
20
it. 2016.
21. So I was like the perfect age for. Oh, sorry, Pete. I was the perfect age for this film. That's 7 years ago. Fucking 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I'm excited to this is one of the ones I did want to rewatch for the episode, but we're busy. We're very busy. And we're actually recording this episode super early because we've
Yeah.
got a lot of stuff coming up.
And we're about to go see something very big too. So
We can probably talk about it now. We're
Actually, we
about to see.
can. We're about to go see Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
So that's how early we're recording this. But I definitely will rewatch it after talking about it because and looking at some of these stills that are up here now, like it is
so
stunning.
beautiful. Yeah.
But even like it's number one out of all these films because it is genuinely the best. But it's also the only film that is great for me
Yes.
out of these
Yeah,
films.
yeah.
As much as I did enjoy Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast,
Yeah, like those
and,
films,
you know,
yeah.
even to an extent, Aladdin, Alice in Wonderland,
Yeah.
Jungle Book is great. Like it is a great movie.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. I 100% agreed. Yeah.
Super. It's just simple. That's it. That's the law. That is written. That is written in blood.
So it is written, so it shall be.
And you can fight me on that. But I mean, it's just so fucking good. But it doesn't shock me that we had a very similar list.
Pretty like not too, you know. And then you know what? Even our disagreements. Look, we're still standing.
Hey, who would have thought? Who would have thought people
Critic-
can have
Critics can
discussions?
have opinions and
Oh my
not
God.
go after each other.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless you're on Twitter, which we
Yeah,
both are
we
at
both
Rated
are, but
PDG
we-
at
but we
nicksflicksfix.
actually- we rarely
Respect.
we
Well, yeah.
rarely
I only
inter-
tweet when I.
We don't really interact with people.
No,
I mean,
no.
I like things.
I like things, but
I'm
there's
not gonna-
sometimes where I see something and I'm like, I could comment,
I
and I'm
could
like,
comment.
I'm not
but
gonna.
I'm not going to.
because I also don't want to spend the next 3 hours going back and forth with someone who doesn't want to change their opinion about
Yeah.
something or hear someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say that I'm out to change people's opinions, but I am. I'm going to quickly run through again. So my 10 was Pinocchio, 9 was Dumbo, 8 Lady and the Tramp, 7 The Lion King, 6 Mulan, 5 Alice in Wonderland, 4 Aladdin, 3 Beauty and the Beast, 2 Cinderella, 1 The Jungle Book.
I was 10 Pinocchio, 9 Dumbo, 8 The Lion King, 7 Alice in Wonderland, 6 Lady and the Tramp, Aladdin at number 5, Cinderella at number 4, Mulan at number 3, Beauty and the Beast at number 2, The Jungle Book at numero uno,
and solidified.
and like
that is cemented in
and
place.
There's
a number
big
2,
jump.
and then it's a number 1 up here. So
basically, yeah.
fantastic film. But that is our rankings. That is our rankings
That is
of
how
the Disney.
That is how we feel.
That is how that is my truth, and you will let me have that. But we did ask you, the lovely people at home who also watch us every month on YouTube. Thank you. Listen to us on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. Subscribe, like, and comment. We love you all. But we asked you all, and like I said, almost about 40 of you put in your opinions. Some of you did what we asked for the top 3 list. Some of you just gave opinions.
Some of you did.
Some of them were funny, and some of them were.
And some of them were just like,
hey,
really?
just let us do what we want to do.
We don't. And this is when we just go. We don't want your like. We actually don't want your opinion.
Go start your own podcast if you want to talk about that. That's fine. But we're not here for those sorts of opinions.
We're not.
You know who you are. I will shout out that one of the funny ones that made me laugh was our good friend Tim from Popcorn Podcast, who just wrote, definitely not the fucking Lion King.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the sort of humor we were looking for.
Yeah, there was a few. There was a few that were like.
So honorable mention is the Lion King.
Like honorable mention.
Honorably dishonoring it. But out of all of those, I took everyone's sort of top 3 and I gave them a point system ultimately. So for number 3, I gave it 1 point, number 2, 2, and then number 1, I gave 3 points.
Right.
And we had a varying list. I think almost the only movie I don't remember seeing on there was Dumbo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I think Pinocchio was on there as I hate this one.
Right,
But I literally don't remember seeing Dumbo. Or Mulan, actually. Now, maybe Mulan was on there and I just didn't count it, but... Racist. And if that's one of you... if that was one of your favorites, then...
You're not alone because I like it too.
This is number 3.
Yeah.
But an honorable mention does go to Aladdin. A lot of people did enjoy Aladdin. It was like sitting at people's 3s, mainly. It was
I think Aladdin...
And there was like 4 or 5 people who had it at 3.
I think Aladdin was... I think for a lot of people, it was like, this was actually not that bad.
I think it was the surprise. It was the surprise
Also,
element.
I think a lot of the other films, apart from like the main... I think a lot of them are like... not very memorable.
No.
I think that's why people are like, oh, they made Dumbo. And you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I was holy shit, that's
we
right.
forget that the Dumbo was made.
4 years ago.
Yeah, not far.
Not far.
Just before the world decided to shut down.
Yeah, because of Dumbo.
That movie was so bad that it caused coronavirus.
Yeah, don't you know, bro? Read up. Do your research, bro.
No, it wasn't a bat. It was actually a flying elephant.
It was a flying elephant made in a lab. Everyone knows that.
Thanks, Disney.
Thanks all. I had another joke there. I'm not gonna say it. So number 3, the People's 3 was
Wasn't it Aladdin at number 3?
No, that was just an honorable mention.
Oh, that was an honorable mention.
Aladdin was an honorable mention.
Right.
Number 3 was Beauty and the Beast.
There you go.
A fair few people picked that one, and it was sitting around that 3-2 mark.
Yeah, nice.
I will say as well, based on the amount of people who said it, I wish Pete's Dragon was on this list. Can we just also shout out Pete's Dragon?
Yeah,
that movie's fucking brilliant.
Pete's Dragon probably would have been like number 2.
It would have been number 2 for me. I love that movie.
But the same, I love Pete's Dragon. And then, if we were allowed to put in Cruella would be up there because I think Cruella's really fucking good.
I had a lot of fun with that. Good directors, David Lowery for
Pete's Dragon.
Pete's Dragon, who also has just done Peter Pan and Wendy, which I haven't watched.
Yeah.
So that's why it's not on this list. But
also, and Cruella was
Craig Gillespie, who did I, Tonya and Pam and Tommy.
Oh, I, Tonya.
Great
so
director.
Good.
Also, I mean, like, that's the best parts of Cruella are one of the best parts. It's like Emma Stone's great. The acting's actually really great, but his directing's fantastic.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah.
The rock star montage fashion show stuff is
awesome. And Emma Thompson and Emma Stone playing off each other is
they're brilliant.
Great.
They're absolutely
I really want to rewatch Cruella now.
But for now, number 3 is Beauty and the Beast.
Right.
Number 2, The Jungle Book, coming in at numero 2.
Oh,
it was splitting hairs. I think there was a couple of points between number 2 and number 1. It could be. It could very well be. But
okay.
Jungle Book comes in at number 2. It was a lot of people's number 1s. It was more people's number 2s.
Right. obviously.
Obviously, because it's so high up there.
I feel like it was like a lot of people's number one, but ultimately came in at number two.
And I think it's one of those things where it's just, I think there is also I think there are some people who have forgotten this movie came out. Like,
Yeah,
it's not talked about as much as the number one.
I think because
or
it
Beauty and the Beast.
it was like released 2017.
16.
Yeah, 16.
Yeah.
So I kind of get I get it. I get it.
But number one is arguably the most renowned one, and it was Cinderella.
All right.
Number one.
Okay, cool.
A lot of people loved this movie, and obviously it was critically acclaimed when it came out. It is sort of the catalyst for these live action adaptations.
I have a feeling like also I could be wrong. I feel like it made like $50 million in like an opening weekend. Like I feel like it was one of those ones that was
it was a
right out the gate
budget sort of.
It was like it was gonna be a success.
It was going to be a huge success.
So it made
540 worldwide.
So it made big money.
It made a bank,
opening
bro.
weekend,
Release,
box
theatrical.
office. There you go, and reception.
Oh, here we go.
So
it grossed 200 million in the US. Worldwide opening of 132 million, 9 million in IMAX alone.
So what was it? Oh, they
67 million opening weekend domestic.
Yeah.
Huge. And I think a lot of people love it. I think there is a lot of love for this movie, and it makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
But as the people's number one, so Beauty and the Beast, Jungle Book, and Cinderella
There you go.
are the people's top three, which is literally my top three swapped Jungle Book and Cinderella,
Yeah.
and pretty close to yours.
Pretty
as well.
close to mine.
I think that does speak volumes about
I think so.
Disney's live action adaptations.
Yeah.
The fact that everyone likes the same ones
Yeah.
and really don't like the other ones.
Yeah.
Little Mermaid is a yet to be determined, obviously, so we're not seeing it for a little while.
Yeah.
Obviously, this episode will drop the week before it comes out, so you will not know our opinions of it by then.
No,
we have
you
not seen
won't,
it by then.
But if you follow us, you will.
Yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
where can they follow you?
Well,
Peter Gray.
good question,
What a little
Nicola Barrow.
segue.
You can follow me on the gram and the twits at ratedpdg. And you can also, if you want to, you can type my name into Rotten Tomatoes and find me there.
Gray.
And as well on all of the places you find podcasts for this lovely
Very true.
episode.
Very, very true.
Whereas my co-host Nicola Barrow,
Oh, that's
who
me.
can be found at
Oh, funny you say that. I can be found on the gram and the twits too. At nicksflicksfix, 60-second little video reviews on Instagram. Opinions about how much I enjoyed Citadel on
Right.
Twitter. Actually really liked it. Not gonna
Citadel,
cop the hate. I thought it was a lot of fun.
and Dead Ringers.
I really liked Dead
Great
Ringers
show.
too.
Yeah.
So on Letterboxd, you can find me at nicksflicksfix as well. Obviously, the YouTube channel here, where you can find this show and the other podcasts we do on this channel. NovaStreamNetwork.com for my reviews and interviews. The AU review.
.com, where you can find my interviews and reviews.
Anyone fun?
I have a great interview with Dylan Sprouse,
friend of the show.
Dylan
If you've
Sprouse,
listened to our after podcast,
Yeah, Dylan Sprouse and Virginia Gardner for Beautiful Disaster, which will be coming out very soon.
it's coming to Prime here. I think I read.
I think so.
Yeah.
And you know what? I can say this by the time this episode airs. I'll also be talking to the writer and director of Book Club, the next
Stunning.
chapter.
Yes.
And that for now.
For when this episode drops, the weekend that this drops, you will see our Renfield reviews and interviews. It had a delayed release in Australia.
Yes. So Renfield, and we did some great interviews for those.
I did Chris McKay, the director, and Robert Kirkman, the writer. Robert Kirkman, of creator of The Walking Dead fame.
And
you
yes,
did.
And I spoke to Ben Schwartz.
Benny Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz. And
But in a weird way, we both spoke to Ben Schwartz.
yeah, because
I wasn't supposed to.
That was kind of great what happened there.
Do you know who else spoke to Ben Schwartz? Our good friend Dickie.
Richard Wilkins.
Bless you. Bless you, Wilkie.
It was just chaos.
Shout out to my friend. Chaos.
You know what? And we don't know if it's happening, but we're really hoping we get something for Fast X.
Oh yes, yeah, it's been unconfirmed.
So if this
for
episode
us.
drops and nothing happens, we're sorry, and also
We're sad.
that sucks. But we are seeing that film very soon.
Yes. So
and
hopefully
we're sort of praying to the gods that something will
something
happen.
pops up. It seems like
so-
they're holding it very close to the
Yeah.
chest.
So who knows?
But there's a little bit going on.
I know who I want to talk to.
I know. I think everyone knows who you want to talk to.
Yeah. Have you seen Men's Health?
I have not, no.
Oof,
but
my
I
God.
will seek it out.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a few things in the pipeline that we could.
Always things in the pipeline.
Always things in the pipeline.
Always things in the pipeline.
But you can find that at novastreamnetwork.com, aureview.com, respectively. I think that's everywhere I'm at.
I think that is it.
I think that's everywhere.
What
Next episode.
What are we doing next episode?
Now,
Something
we're
kinda
called
fun.
we're called the monthly movie marathon,
We are.
right? But we're giving you a fortnightly episode.
Yeah.
Now-
How about that?
It's been a little while. Speaking of stirring the pot and shaking the things. I almost said it.
I saw your mouth. I was like, say things.
It's been a while since we did this. I think we did this one in like September last year.
Was it? Yeah, it was.
It's been a little
later
while.
last year.
Almost a year, which is crazy.
And it was well received.
It was well
We
received.
had a
It's
lot
one
of
of our
people
most
who-
downloaded
And
episodes.
they were like, they know things about us.
But we want you to know more.
Always more.
Always more. There's
Always
always more
more.
stories to tell.
Believe it or not, we haven't revealed everything about ourselves.
Who would have thought?
All right.
But we're doing another Q&A special. We thought it was
Yeah.
time. And we've got like a decent gap between this and the next actual monthly movie marathon we're doing, which will resume the original format of marathoning
actually
movies
watching
monthly.
movies. Yeah.
But we had a lot of fun doing the Q&A special. We
fair.
know you guys did as well because the questions you sent in and the reception to the episode was great. So get ready. Check out our socials. Obviously, Rated PDG, nicksflicksfix. You will find when we put up our little posts about questions that we want answered.
where you can write questions in and ask.
And you can ask literally, it can be
Like-
movies, it can be about junkets, interviews, it can be about us, it can be personal. We just want to
We just
be fully unadulterated,
I mean-
unabashed, and unapologetic about it.
probably still related to movies.
Oh, predominantly, yes,
Yes,
totally,
but
yeah.
There might be
yeah.
look, example was a scene that you shouldn't find
Sexy, but you found
did.
sexy,
Um,
which was
so-
very revealing from that first episode. But just go have
And you
go
know,
nuts. Have fun.
because if we feel it's too personal, we won't.
We just
ask
won't
it.
answer.
But by all means, ask away.
But then also on top of that, something that we did on our 2022 recap that we liked was having the surprise question for each other. So we
Yes.
will close out that episode with a surprise question
Which
that I
we-
haven't told Pete my
and
question.
I haven't
Pete
told
will
him.
tell. So you get unadulterated,
You get, like-
authentic on the
You
spot
get,
answers.
live reaction.
We call that gotcha journalism, which is exactly what we avoid in our line of
Yeah,
work.
we
But if
make
we get to
sure-
do it to each other, that's
That's
fine.
fine. Yeah.
But that'll be the next episode.
Yeah.
But obviously, thank you for listening to this episode. As I've said multiple times, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Your support to the show is very much.
It means a
means
lot
the world
because
to
it
us.
means what we're doing has
some value to you, and as much fun as we have doing it, we also feel very grateful and very honored and have a lot of fun bringing the content to you.
do.
So that's that for this episode.
That's this.
That's that, and we're shaking things up.
But as much as the next episode is going to be the Q&A,
Yes.
what are we actually doing for June?
Well, for June, we were throwing around the idea of doing a 6-movie marathon for Transformers.
which we both decided
Nah, because a better option came up.
when we
so
realized, there's another massive movie opening in June.
in June with a massive franchise film. So our Q&A's gone in the
Which
spot where we're
I'm-
going to do Transformers.
Which I'm actually really excited to rewatch these because it's been a while.
It's been a long time for me too. So in the lead up to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming out, we'll be doing Indiana Jones. We'll be doing Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That's the one that I'm most worried about rewatching.
I've heard other things about Temple of Doom that don't hold up as well. So
Right. Oh, I know. Yeah.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time since I've seen them as well, and obviously we're excited for the next Indiana Jones as well, being directed by James Mangold. So
Yes.
that will be coming up, but obviously more info on that at the end of the Q&A episode. But thank you all again for listening. Remember, look out for the social media questions popping up to get your question on the show. And until the next episode, bye.